Good afternoon. I hope you all had a very good lunch. When we talk about chief ministers, we have a particular perception about chief ministers, especially from the big states of India. But when it comes to Northeastern chief ministers, they not only look different, they behave very differently. Because I remember when I first met Conrad Sangma, Meghalaya chief minister, who is a guest in this session, he was wearing a sling bag, a denim pant, and a t-shirt. So it was quite a pleasant surprise to find a politician like that, and he profusely apologized to me for around 10 minutes because he was late. With that note, that personal note, I would like to welcome Conrad Sangma, Honorable Chief Minister of Meghalaya, to the stage. There is a reason why I mentioned about that personal appearance. Because Mr. Sangma, these days questions have been raised about your body language. People are very unhappy with your body language. You are very submissive, I'm told. We are told, rather. And especially in front of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. What's the issue?
I think it depends on how one looks at it. But of course, the respect is always there. I've always very strongly believed that there is a special focus on the Northeast in the last many years, especially in the NDA government. So I personally feel that the kind of interest, focus, and the investments that have been made in the last many years has not been done in the past. And so therefore, I do look at it and see a sense of respect in the whole process. If you would like to see it as being submissive, that's a different issue. But I look at it more as respect.
I don't see it that way. TMC leader Abhishek Banerjee said that in Meghalaya. How do you react to that?
I've always maintained, even yesterday, in fact, before I came here, I had a cabinet meeting and some people asked me about some comments made by certain leaders. And I told them that if you are looking for comments for me, then please ask somebody else. I'm here to do work, and I really don't, really bother too much about comments being made. I think it's important that as a leader also and as an individual, one should be able to come out of the noise in today's world, focus on what's important, focus on the targets that you have, and move forward.
But are you not, many people say that you are very submissive to Prime Minister Modi and also to the Assam CM, because many say that your political career is dependent on BJP. How do you react to that? And this is a criticism by many opposition leaders.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I'm open to any kind of criticism that anybody may have. Number one, I think it's very clear, I would like to make it very clear, that our political base and the way the party has been growing in the past many years is something that I'm sure that you are aware of. The National People's Party has been a party which is my party, and I'm a president of that, has been a political party which has started off with just 1-2 MLAs, and today we are a national party. So when it comes to politics and our identity, we have never shied away from standing up for our own cause and our political space. That's number one. Number two, in the context of the politics that happens in our nation, yes, there are friends that you need to make. You have to work with a team. And in this current scenario, we are working with the BJP and the NDA, and there's nothing to hide about that. So therefore, working with them does not mean that we compensate or we in any way compromise, on the identity and on the different kind of values and stands that we may have.
You took a certain stand against CA also, but of course you got Meghalaya exempted from CA. But when it came to recently the transportation of cows, it created a lot of problem in your state, but you couldn't probably resolve it, though you have a very great equation with the Assam CM, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma.
Yeah, so basically there are different issues, and it's not always that we agree on every issue, and that's why we have our own stand and our own political party. When it came to the CAA, it is after the stand that we took along with other regional leaders that the BJP went back to the drawing board, came out with amendments in it, and made adjustments to adjust for many of the states in the Northeast. Similarly, when it came to the issues concerning the transportation of cow, this issue has been there. And even as we speak, our officials and our departments, they are in continuous dialogue to ensure that the smooth transition for the needs and requirements of Meghalaya state are not affected. And the Assam CM has made that also very clear. So is it perfect? Yeah, it's not perfect. But I think what is important is that there is a continuous effort to come out of all the issues that are there and resolve those issues so that we can, we can solve the problems that we face.
So the relationship is not perfect, you are saying, that BJP-NPP relationship?
I think nothing is, as we call it, nothing is stable as we look at it. I think I'm always of the firm belief that in politics, it is the balance that's important. Stability will never be there. So therefore, even in issues and concerns that we have, we will never see 100% eye to eye. So are there complications? Absolutely they are. And do we stand when we have to? We do. But yes, with the option and with the outlook that we should try and resolve as many of the problems as possible. And sometimes we can't. But that's the nature of coalition.
I'm curious about your relationship with BJP because in Meghalaya you are running a government supported by the BJP. You often talk about your excellent relationship with BJP leaders. But in Manipur, you have snapped the tie with the BJP and you actually contested on your own in Manipur. In Arunachal also you are trying to penetrate. Assam also you are trying to penetrate. Of course, you probably see yourself as the pan-Northeast party. But how do you manage these contradictions? At the same time, you are in coalition with the BJP and in places you are contesting against BJP. So how do you manage these contradictions and how BJP reacts to these contradictions?
So basically, you have just clarified everything that you asked me in the past 10 minutes of my relationship with the BJP.
It's a very curious relationship.
Yeah, I think you have clarified the entire scenario for everybody in the question that you asked. And I've been maintaining it from day one, that we are always clear that we will maintain our identity. We will not compromise on the different stands that we have. And that's the reason why I am always very clear that when it comes to contesting elections, we contest on our own, in our own terms, because that's what we go to the people with. That if you vote for the NPP, then this is what we believe. But if they don't give us the mandate, then obviously the political discussions start. And therefore, Manipur is a great example. We were in coalition with them. In the last election in 2017, we fought on our own, in spite of a large, problems and challenges we faced from the BJP. Similarly, in 2022 also, we went ahead and we decided to contest on our own. And we fought the BJP, and in fact, we came out as the second largest party in Manipur. And we will continue to fight in other states, whether it is in Nagaland, Tripura, Meghalaya, even Arunachal Pradesh. So I'm very clear on that. But then, as I said, when it comes to formation of the government and trying to work towards the people's mandate, we realize that if the numbers are not there, then we need to discuss and find friends and partners with whom we can work. And I've been very clear that we have always, since our late leader, Shri P.S. Sangma's time, we have been working with the NDA, and we continue. But as I said, so therefore, we don't compromise on our identity.
But how does BJP react to this, your contradictions?
Well, sometimes they're not happy about it, but that's fine with me.
Because many leaders in India, particularly from states like West Bengal, where we are, in the morning we had a session on this federalism structure. So they say that the BJP is overpowering, the Prime Minister doesn't give space to leaders. So in that case, what you are trying to do is you are fighting BJP somewhere, you are allying with BJP. So do you think that Indian federal structure gives that space to maneuver your own politics and also take advantage of your friends and enemies? And what would be your advice to other chief ministers, particularly West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee?
Okay, there are a lot of questions in that. But to start off, I think in the entire democratic and the federal structure of of the country, obviously the diversity that we have clearly has a space and a room for different political mindsets and different ideologies to be there. And hence the space for a regional party coming up, whether it's a pan-Northeast party or a pan-tribal party, indigenous party, I think these are things that will always be there in the space, in the political space of the country. So I think that's nothing to debate about. But I think what is important, which you've been mentioning, is that how to balance the entire factor out. And for me, and at least for our political party, we have been very clear in two things, and I'm repeating it again, that when it comes to our identity, we don't compromise, and we will continue to make sure that we make our presence felt in whatever situation that it needs to be when it comes to the ideologies of the party. Number two, we have been very clear, is that once the mandate comes from the people, then we have to work along the dimensions that have come out in the elections, and work towards a government that can have the best and the most friendliest people and the people who you can get along with and work with in the overall interest of the government and the state and the people. And those relations will not always be perfect. There will always be fights. But I guess in the larger interest, we move along. Regarding advice to other chief ministers, I don't think, I'm here to advise anybody. Every situation, every state is different. Every state faces its own challenges. The leaders of the states who are there know best. So therefore, for example, if some other leader were to come from another state and speak about the politics in Meghalaya, I would say that they would not be fully, under grasp of all the issues that are there and be able to do justice to it. So therefore, I don't think it's appropriate for me to say how
I'll rephrase the
chief
question.
minister should run a state.
I'll rephrase the question, not for any particular chief minister, but you seem to have cracked the code of how to deal with Prime Minister Modi. So what is that secret mantra?
No, I don't think I've cracked any code. I think that's not the way to put it. I think what we have been doing in the last 4 years really is, I've been focusing on a lot of aspects of governance and delivery mechanism at the grassroots level. Just yesterday, we were given an award for having the best ecosystem for startups among the small states in the entire country. So a lot of people feel that we just got the award, but they don't realize that I'm an entrepreneur myself by my past records. And I have gone through situations where I've seen that when I was starting my business, there was nobody to help me. And I faced a lot of challenges. So I realized that I need to create the ecosystem. And for the past 4 years, we've been working in Meghalaya to create the right support for our entrepreneurs, because I believe that entrepreneurs are the game changers for the economy, and that's the only way to drive our state and the country. So what I'm trying to say is that we do things with the right intention. We are ensuring that governance improves. And in the process, we're getting support from the central government. And in the process, there is politics also. So yes, you have to balance the entire thing out. But I think at the end of the day, if your eye is on the ball and you ensure that you are working for the people and with a purpose, I think rest of the things fall in place is what I believe.
India is on the verge of getting the first tribal president. And your father, late P.A. Sangma ji, he was also a contestant for the presidential post, and probably he was the first tribal candidate for the post of Indian president. My question is, selecting a tribal as a candidate, it's also a symbolic gesture. Do you think the government, and irrespective of this particular government, but subsequent governments, have they done enough for the tribals across the country, because you represent a tribal state? Or are these symbolic steps important, or it is more important to do groundwork for the tribals?
Well, I would first of all say that both are important. And if you look at what has been done, I'm definitely one of those people who's very proud of what's happening now. And really, it will be a proud moment as a tribal of this country to finally see a tribal woman to become the first president of India. So therefore, it is important because it gives a sense of identity to the tribals and a sense of recognition. And I think this is the highest form that can be given. Number two, when a person from the tribal community sits there, then you are in the circle of certain important decisions that had to be done. And I think those decisions are influenced by that. So it will have its impact. I had, in fact, last time discussed with Honorable Prime Minister, and I had mentioned that we should have a presidential retreat in Northeast India. So the presidential retreat is there in Hyderabad. We have in Shimla, and we should have in Northeast also, so that the Prime Minister of the nation, the President of the nation, can come and stay for 2 weeks or 3 weeks in the Northeast. And that will send a very powerful message to the nation about integration of this country. So in similar lines, having a tribal person as a president is going to be very, very important. But the second point you mentioned is absolutely correct also, that while we do these kind of important decisions are made, and we have people of tribal background to be president of the country, at the grassroots level, much more needs to be done, especially in tribal areas. We need to understand that the tribal areas have been backward. A lot is being done. I'm not saying that nothing is being done, but I think more needs to be put in. And apart from, obviously, these kind of important gestures and important positions that the tribal people will hold, I think ultimate way to bring up the tribal economy and the tribal people is to ensure that the economic development takes place at the grassroots level.
As you said, that gesture of even the constructing that presidential retreat in Northeast will certainly send some very good, powerful message. But at the same time, my question, I'll repeat my question, because have you seen in last 5 years or 10 years significant initiatives, real initiatives which can transform the socio-economic plight of the tribals on the ground? Have you seen, and if you have seen, can you name one or two such initiatives that you have seen impact in your own state?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I can give a whole list of them, but let me just stick to 2-3 of these issues. Now, when we took over the government in 2018, there were many programs that were being run by the government of India. And we realized that there was a bit of shortcoming from the local governance point of view. And I'm happy to inform you that all the same schemes that were running, where Meghalaya was ranking at number 23, number 24, number 25 in the country, in a matter of 3-4 years today, we have tripled the amount of budget allocation that has come into those same schemes, and today we are one of the top performing in the country. And the reason I'm telling you this is that it's not that government of India had not been giving funds. There has to be efforts from both sides. So while the money comes in, the state governments and the local governments have to ensure that the implementation and delivery takes place. Now, just to give you an example, we were like at the bottom in terms of MG and REGA. Today we are at the top 3 in the country in terms of the growth that has taken place. We have tripled the budget that we had. We have seen so many schemes like, for example, the PM GSY schemes. Again, we have almost, the amount has gone up 5 times compared to what we used to get in 2017-18. When it comes to small things like vaccination, we used to be ranked 26. Today we are ranked number 3 in the country. What I'm trying to tell you is that clearly the focus of Government of India has always been towards states which are backward and have got critical problems. But I think the local governments also have the responsibility to ensure that implementation takes place at the grassroots. Many schemes, I'll just give you examples since you asked me for specific schemes. Today, when we started off, we had 4,000 houses that had got water through pipe. 4,000. I have about total 5.5 lakh families, houses, or 5,80,000 in the rural areas which require tapped water. Out of these 5,80,000, only 4,000 had pipes. Today, in a matter of year and a half, 2 years, we're almost touching 3 lakh houses. So now, government of India has, so that's 50%, more than almost close to 50% of what has to be done. Government of India has started this beautiful program called Jal Jeevan Mission. And this is having a direct impact on the lives of the people. I mean, I'm sure, Kaushik, you must have seen these sites yourself, being a person from the Northeast and from rural areas. You know, it's simple things like these. I went to a village where this Jal Jeevan was implemented. And, you know, I couldn't help but I saw the woman and I asked her, and she had tears in her eyes because she was mentioning about how she had to walk for, 3, 4, 5 hours to get water up the hill. And today the water comes to their house. So it might look like a very small thing for city, but the impact it had as a rural levels is huge. So like that, there are many examples, but I think I can see the clock ticking, so I will not, and I saw your eyes go on the clock also, so I'll cut short my answer.
Development has also come at a cost because we are seeing now in the Northeast, especially in the context of Northeast, we are seeing cloudburst, unusual rainfalls, floods that we had never seen earlier, and question mark are being raised about railway stations, railway projects. So how do you balance, as the Chief Minister of one of the most significant states, how do you balance this development and also protecting the ecology, that sensitive ecology of Northeast?
Yeah, I think you've put it the right way, Kaushik, because striking this balance is actually one of the toughest decisions that I think any government policymaker will have to take, is this balance between economy and ecology. And I always have believed that we need to work towards ensuring that we reach this balance. Will it be perfect? It never will be. Will we have situations where some decision was taken and it went wrong? I'm sure. More than 60-70% of the time that could happen. Now, the accidents that happened in my state or in Manipur because of development work that came in can be seen from different angles. Now, so does that mean we stop development? Absolutely not. But I think some of these situations are unpredictable. We can't say. I can tell you that in the last 60, 70 years, we have not seen the kind of rain and the cloudburst and the kind of intensity of the rain that took place in a matter of 3 hours. We saw one of the biggest rivers in our state in Meghalaya go up by 50 feet in 3 hours. So you can just imagine the amount of rain that came in. Now, can you blame that on development activities because of which then the roads got washed away?
Climate change is a result of
developmental
activity.
So now we need to, as we move along, what is important that we need to learn from these situations. We need to adapt, as they say. We need to mitigate, and we need to figure out how we move forward and improve as we go forward. But is this going to continue to happen? It may. Is there a solution to it? Really can't say. It all depends, is relative to the situation you face. But yes, I think proper planning, proper design, and proper involvement of different experts before taking any kind of these development decisions could help in reducing the number of cases of these accidents taking place, which obviously will save hundreds of lives also.
You are technically a religious minority. In India, when we use the word minority, it's generally used to mean a specific religion, but as a Christian, you are also a minority. And there is a discourse that a majoritarian politics is happening in India and minorities are feeling threatened. So it's a very direct question to you. As a minority in India, are you feeling threatened?
Well, there are a lot of situations where I can tell you very frankly that I have been in touch with most of the Christian leaders, especially from the Catholic denomination. And I speak to them, almost every day, if not, once a day at least, I get calls from here and there. And yes, there are situations where I hear live that different situations have occurred, different challenges have been faced, and they're facing a lot of difficulty at the grassroots level. So, to some extent, yes, these things are happening at the grassroots level. But while I say that, there are 2-3 aspects to things. Number one is that, yes, there have been certain changes in certain laws. Now, these implementations have impacted many people.
Laws like?
Laws like the FCRA, for example. Now, because of the FCRA, thousands and thousands of schools that were run by the missionaries, which are funded from outside, had to go through a lot of difficulty, and they could not even run the schools at certain points in time. We appealed to the government. They gave extension. I've taken up personally more than 100 such cases, even as Chief Minister, even though the case may be in Jharkhand or Delhi or Mumbai or Mizoram, they come to me directly. So I've taken those cases up. So there are those challenges, but I think when it comes to that, not all are because of any kind of, religious angle to it. These are, aspects which even our people have to understand in terms of the minority institutions, that the process has to be followed. So there are a lot of areas where the process was not followed properly, and there's challenges were there. So it's important to not mix the different situations that are there. But having said that, the entire situation in the country, there are fringe elements, there are situations that are happening. Is it happening at a national level through a policy? That's something that is debatable. I don't think I'll be able to come here and say that it's a national policy. But the situation, the political situation in the country, and the different kind of political outcomes that are coming out, is leading to these elements becoming more aggressive. And so therefore,
And
in
who,
some
who
situations...
Who is responsible for that? Who is
there could be
emboldening
many,
these elements?
So these could be elements that have always been there, but because of the political, the changes in the national level politics and everything, they get more,
You said
strength.
national level politics. By who?
No, as I said, the national level politics may not be directing anybody to do it, but because of the fact that a certain party grows, so the elements that are maybe connected to them. No, I mean, you're kind of like a rapid fire question having. But this is what it is. And at the end of the day, the fringe elements will get the kind of strength from this, even though that may not be the intention or direction of the political leadership in it. So to answer your question in a nutshell, I'm sure that these things are happening. I get direct reports, and many situations happen, many areas where Christian communities are being suppressed. And wherever the action needs to be taken, I'm personally involved in most of these situations, and I support.
Suppressed by who?
So as I said, fringe elements that are there. And as I said, these fringe elements get the strength because they feel that the political, as you said, certain religious groups, because of the strength that is there from political parties coming into the fray, they may get the strength.
But in Meghalaya, you are in power. You have the police with you.
Yeah, so you asked me a national question. So I cannot give you specific state-specific replies to this. But I'm telling you what's happening at a generic national level. But yes, what is important is that the government of India, the leadership at the national level, and even the state level, we must come together and ensure that these kind of situations are neutralized, and individuals who are involved in any kind of such activity should be taken to the books.
You are an unusual BJP friend who can speak very candidly, and that's why I mentioned about the fact that Northeastern politicians and chief ministers are very different. Now, we also know this fact that you are a very good singer, and you love playing guitar, and we would really request you to sing for us at this conclave and play the guitar also.
Yeah, I'm, as you said correctly, I am a person who likes music, and a lot of Northeast people do. And you know it better also that I would not normally say no, especially when a friend like you asks me to sing, and in an occasion like this. But it's just that a lot of things have happened back home, and so much of flood and so much of misery and damages, and people are suffering. In my state and in Assam and in Manipur. And I just feel this may not be an occasion to be singing and celebrating. So, on the contrary, I would ask all of you to pray for the people who are being affected by the flood. This is a lot of people are suffering right now. And though your request is very genuine, it would have been another day, I would have definitely said yes to it. But I just feel that when people are suffering, I don't feel appropriate singing out here today. So
I respect your sentiment, Honorable Chief Minister. It was really an honor to have you here. And as usual, you are very candid, direct. Really appreciate you joining us here at India Today Conclave. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.